So if you're a woman and you have some questions about cold plunge, ice baths, I am Dr. Wendy. I'm a physical therapist. I have taken care of women for almost 20 years, and cold plunge is something I have recently become kind of passionate about for helping control inflammation, pain, reducing visceral fat. But this particular poster has a very specific question. So she asks, is the ice bath cold plunge okay for people that have interstitial cystitis, meaning non-bacterial cystitis, meaning bladder pain, and pelvic floor dysfunction? Okay, pelvic floor dysfunction normally happens when people have what's called a hypertonic or tight pelvic floor. It can happen for a variety of reasons. It can happen because of hip dysfunction, labral tears, vaginismus. There's a ton of things. So here's my take on this. Step one, women's health is super behind. With cold exposure, cold water, ice baths, all the studies are pretty much done on men, young men specifically. Now, there are some studies done on Korean winter swimmers. There are some of those, but that does not apply here. So we don't have research to back what I'm about to say, but I have done women's health for 20 years, and I have some thoughts and opinions that could be helpful, so let me share them. So the reason people are doing cold plunge is to help reduce inflammation and pain. People that have bladder dysfunction, let's start with IC. These people have what is called a mast cell disorder or a mast cell issue. Mast cells make histamines, and within the bladder, which the bladder is a muscle, but the bladder can have some mast cells that are extra grumpy, extra spicy, and these people can have irritation. The bladder can sometimes cause trigger points to be in the abdominal muscles and pelvic floor. That's step one. I don't personally believe the cold plunge or ice bath will irritate the bladder itself. But here's what I think the cold plunge and ice bath could irritate, and it's not going to be what you think. Your nervous system, when you go into the ice bath, that's one of the reasons people do an ice bath. So when you put your body into cold water, that would be between 40 and 57 degrees. I do not like to leave the 50-degree range. 57 is when I get in, and I don't like it to be any colder than 51 because it just hurts my soul. But your clitoris will hit that water, and your nervous system is going to be real spicy locally in the pelvic floor region, and it might try to upregulate your nervous system. So if you don't have a good handle on breathing and learning how to regulate your nervous system, so when you are in the cold water, the idea is you are breathing and calming your nervous system down. If you don't have a good handle before getting in the cold plunge, it might be too much. But if you are a rock star at diaphragmatic breathing, meditation, mindfulness, you can try it and see. I mean, women's health is really interesting because it's an art and a science with what we do. Each pelvic floor patient is very different. Each bladder patient is very different. In terms of, like, let's say oxalate foods, each person is unique with what is their trigger. I have one person who takes one bite of one strawberry and will have pain and sensitivity for 7 days. So each person is different. In regards to pelvic floor tightness and getting in the cold water, once again, same thing. If the nervous system gets upregulated and that's part of your pain, then it could be more of a hindrance. Now, the flip side of the cold plunge coin is a sauna. And I would say that warmth, getting in a sauna, if the cold plunge doesn't work for you, do the other side of that coin, because saunas help your DNA as well. And the sauna would help relax those muscles. If you went to the sauna at, let's say, a Y, you could do whatever stretching routine that has been prescribed to you by your physical therapist in the sauna. And that, I know, could be very helpful for you. Hit the plus sign and follow for more women's health and wellness tips. Bye.